Hey, everybody. Welcome to our next installment of the Detroit Hustle Podcast. I'm your host, Melinda B. Powers, and today we have a burgeoning celebrity actress. She's so talented. She can sing. Oh, she can sing. I'm sorry, sang. Her name is Angela Birchett. Angela, thank you for joining us today. How are you?
I'm good, Melinda. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to talk today about my hometown
Oh,
because
yes.
I love Detroit. It's the best city in the world.
Hey, now that's what I like to hear, and that's why we started this. But I got to shout you out a little bit. We'll get to it in the broadcast, but just on the front end, for those that don't know, Angela just portrayed Jackie Clark in the Clark Sisters movie on Lifetime, which I've heard so many great reviews about. I haven't had a chance to catch it yet, but I've seen some clips, and I'm really psyched to see it. But keep an eye on her. She's moving. I mean, I won't even get into it because I've read your bio and everything. So let's just get into it.
Okay.
So just tell us a little bit about where you're from in the D, where you started out, what schools you went to. Just give us a little background on Angela.
Awesome. This is so cool. I get to talk about home. And
Yeah.
people will be like, oh yeah. As opposed to all the other ones I've done. They're like, oh, okay. They don't get it.
Oh,
But
awesome.
yeah, I'm originally from Detroit, born and raised on the west side.
Oh,
um,
well.
between Southfield and Evergreen, 6 and 7,
Ooh.
like a little grid.
Uh-huh.
I went to Holcomb Elementary. I then went to St. Scholastica Middle School, and then I went to Renaissance High School.
Oh, well,
Graduated.
you can't win them
Um,
all.
I don't think she's gonna be able to stop herself.
I couldn't. I was gonna be like, I don't really know her like that. I won't go there. I'm sorry, I had to.
Listen,
That's my only one. I don't need to do it at length. I got
I,
enough last week.
I grew up in a house where 2 Renaissancers and one cast person. So it's been a
Mm-hmm.
constant thing. To this day, my sister Antea and I, if it comes up, we'll back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But
Yeah.
but it's cool. It's really exciting to people all over the world know about Cast Tech.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Los
Mm-hmm.
Angeles High School from Detroit. So
Oh,
I get to love,
what?
love the cast.
What? Now see, you get all the respect for that, okay?
But yeah, I graduated in '97, and then I went to Kentucky State University, which is a small HBCU, the only one in this Commonwealth of Kentucky. I majored in music education. I dual majored in music education and vocal performance. So acting and performing as an actor, I did it intermittently, but I really didn't even get into really knowing about it and researching and then studying until really college, like end of college, going and graduating. So I I take pride in being a person whose journey is not like the typical, I went to this college and I'm on my 10th Broadway show and I went to this, that, I went to schools that always had music and arts, but ironically, what I do mostly is not what I went to, what was in my schools. It was mostly choir singing, group singing, instruments. I played in the band too, and all
Mm-hmm.
that stuff.
Oh,
So
what instrument? Wait a
I
minute.
play percussion. Yeah, I
Ooh.
played in the symphonic band. I marched for like one season, but then I left.
Oh yeah,
But
that's a different life.
it is, and two, when I was in school, we halfway through we got a new band teacher who was the bomb. But you know how if you in 10th or 11th grade,
Yeah.
he's program. So I was kind of like, I'm on my way out. I'm not, I don't love it that much anymore to really do it.
Sure.
But it became like a great program, but it was newer when I was there. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I came back to Detroit before I moved here to New York. I taught school. I taught K through 8 music at Paul
Mm-hmm.
Robeson, which is also on the West Side.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I was able to start the music program there. They didn't have really anything. They didn't have a music.
Wow.
I think they had the band,
Mm-hmm.
but they didn't have vocal. They didn't have acting or any of that. So I just covered the choirs. I gave the voice lessons and we did musicals. So they kind of got like acting too.
Wow. I mean, so you just came and created. Now,
Yeah.
see, that's nothing to sneeze at. That's not easy work.
Oh,
And just to backtrack a little bit, we are also both HBCU graduates. I went to the one and only FAMU.
Oh,
Ah,
okay.
Rattler Strike, yes. But I think we came out the same year. I came out in '02.
Yeah. I came. I dual major, so I spend a little extra time
Mm-hmm.
in school.
Well,
But
you had to. That's a lot. That's double
yeah, woo,
the work.
geez, looking back, I'm like, why did you do that again?
Right.
Um, but it was great because I had everything that I needed when to build a program,
Sure.
and to see it. I mean, I didn't stay very long because New York was calling me, so
Mm-hmm.
I didn't stay too long. But I got the program up and
Up
running,
and running.
that
Yeah.
portion of the program up and running. And then, came to New York, and that's kind of it. All kind of shifted from there once I decided that I wanted to pursue this full time. And I didn't. I like I said, I don't have that story of I went to this famous. I didn't go to NYU or Tisch or any of
Mm-hmm.
these places. My school was doing shows. I learned from my colleagues and directors and musical directors and choreographers, and and that's been it.
Mm-hmm.
I've had to be very proactive in my training. I didn't. I've done television, but I didn't. I've taken maybe one TV acting for television class. Um,
Mm.
it really is just being able to pick up quickly and take adjustments and kind of figure things out as you go. So it can be done. And I did it late. I didn't come to New York till I was in my late 20s.
Okay.
So like I started out obviously not in the union, and I'm like one of the older people in shows because all the non-union folks are young. People at that point were union members, but like
Right.
I know what that was. I just got to New York and just started
Like I just
auditioning.
want to do some work.
Yeah, I just work. I didn't, and of course, as you go through the way, how we do it here, you learn and you pick up things along the way. So it's been quite a journey. But I
Sounds
wouldn't
like
trade
it.
any of it. It's been amazing. I've been in New York almost 15 years now,
Ooh.
and I love it. It's home. It's not my
Yeah.
hometown. I always
Gotcha.
be a Detroit girl in my heart. But it's home, and New York's been good to me. I can't complain. Now she's been rough too.
Oh yeah. She's known for
It's
that.
true. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere.
That is true. So what area are you living in, if you want
Well,
to share
actually,
that?
some people call me a little bit of a like because I moved to Jersey actually.
Ah, what part?
I'm right now. I'm in Palisades Park, which is it's like North Jersey near the bridge, like right where it splits off, where you go into like Yonkers and stuff.
Sure.
But I've not been here long. I was in Jersey City for years. Like,
I was in Jersey City. I tried to make my way in the big city back in '08, right at the economic downturn during the
oh,
election. Yes, it was fabulous. And but I loved it. I still love New York. I don't get there as much as I would like, but it's an awesome, phenomenal place. So I
yeah,
commend you for making it work.
yeah,
I want to just drag you back a little bit.
okay.
So I know I read your bio, but I want the listeners to get a more organic sense of how you realized this is what you wanted to do.
So when I was, I guess maybe 13 or 14, I through a summer program that was led by a man named Clyde Harper, who is still he's not in Detroit anymore, but he's still very much building young people's careers and starting them off with training and acting, kind of like a conservatory.
Mm-hmm.
And I auditioned. It's called the Summer Youth Arts Employment Program. And it was there that I met Clyde. And then would also there's where I started my relationship with the amazing founder and former artistic director of the Mosaic Youth Theater of Detroit, who everybody knows Mosaic. But back then the day, he was just getting started. The company had only been around for maybe 2 or 3 years. But he was brought in to direct this program's production of Curly. And that was the first time that I was cast in a principal role within a professional. I got paid. It was a professional theater production. At the time, I didn't realize, I'm having like top of the line direction, choreography, the other
Mm.
actors. But meanwhile, I'm only like 14. I was the youngest cast member, but I was playing one of the oldest characters.
Characters, okay.
And Rick kept saying to me, you really should think about being an actor because you have such great natural instincts. You take direction well. You're aware of yourself, and that was kind of the bug that bit me. I didn't really. I know this probably sounds a little ignorant, but I didn't realize like you could sing and act together. Like I just
Gotcha.
wasn't exposed to that.
You were
So
young.
yeah, I was a kid, you know, and growing up in Detroit where I grew up in church, so that was where I got most of my singing. I grew up at Greater Grace
Sure.
Temple right when it was on Schaefer.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was a great training ground, but it's just different. It's church, it's choir. So I didn't know about it. And it was like a whole world opened up to me. And I never stopped being inquisitive. I never stopped doing it. I was with Mosaic for a little while, doing some of their performances, and got to work with Rick more, and we just kept in touch and over the years. And anytime I needed any coaching or anything, I could go to him. MC at Cass, she's like another mom to me. You know,
Oh,
I go to
yes.
Cass. You know, it's like I did. All my best friend
Yeah.
is Cass and is one of MC's girls, and
Okay.
Dominique got all of those.
Oh, yeah. She was
Yeah.
on season 1.
Oh yeah, yeah. So you know, I got exposed early to both what it was and how I felt about it, but also other young people who had been doing it already, who
Yeah.
were good and like had this natural ability. And I could just name at least 10 people that are on television right now, or on Broadway, or playwrights, or all types of things that started in Detroit right
Yeah.
around in the 90s, you know, just learning. So yeah, I definitely around 14, and then it just kind of blossomed from there.
Yeah, it's kind of funny though that so this is episode 7 of season 2. We had 10 in season 1, and most, if not all, of our guests have done some kind of musicianship in their careers as students or professionally. So music is a huge thread of this broadcast. And myself, I've played and sang and done things too. So I think that's really cool and unique. And I think that's something about Detroit that people don't always realize is how talented Detroiters are, and just naturally just adept at different modalities and arts in general. So thank you for highlighting that yet again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, no matter where people end up, be it something very technical, they always have that music background.
Oh yeah.
So I just
Yep.
think that's super special. But so what was the moment when you're in Detroit starting these programs at Robeson, and you're like, what was it that said, okay, it's time to go?
Oh, well, you know, it was a few, but I think the one that really got me was one day Dr. Collins, Marcus Collins, who you had on your show, his mom was the principal at the time, and she came down to my classroom for something. I don't remember what it was, and we just got to chatting, and she said, you know, I was thinking about you the other day. Are you singing or anything? I mean, I know we love you here, and you're always here and with the kids, but you know, I'd love to come hear you sing like you used to, you know. And I said, well, I don't really have time between. I mean, I sang at church, but as far as like really doing what I love, this being passionate about, I wasn't doing it. And that was kind of the joke that was like, wait a minute, I'm not doing it. Time is just kind of ticking on by. And, you know, I was having some vocal problems because of teaching and, you know, demonstrating. I'm playing the piano and I'm banging on the piano and singing over it, you know, every class, every day. So by Thursday, every week I'm hoarse, and, you know, and then whatever I had left was gone on Sunday. And it just kind of got to the point where I was like, okay, Angie, is this what you want to do for the rest of your life? Do you, you know, it's fine if you do, but like, you know, that you want to be in New York. I had friends who I did summer stock with who were like, you need to move to New York. And I'm like, oh, I got to finish my degree, you know, and I went home, and they'll call every 6 months like, hey, Aunt, are you coming? I'm like, no, you know. And so after that conversation was when I really kind of, I think, not even my words, just my energy, my thoughts, start putting it out there. And then an opportunity presented itself that kind of literally snatched me out of Detroit to go work, and then which turned into me transitioning to New York.
So what was the opportunity? You've got me intrigued.
Yeah. So these friends that I talked about that check in on me from time to time, which both are amazing Broadway and television actors now. But they were same as me, but they were theater kids.
Dominique and Angela?
No, I know them, but
I just took a stab.
In New York, they definitely looked out for me, you know.
Okay.
I've kind of lost touch with Angela, but Dominique for sure. Like
sure, okay.
Always. But these they were a couple, and they said, hey, Ange, we were just checking in with you because they were on the road with a show at the time. Smokey Joe's Cafe was on their national tour.
Okay.
And they called and said, we know it's a long shot, but I just had to call you because we're about to lose one of our actors and they need an immediate replacement.
Wow.
And you're perfect for it. And I know you're teaching. I know you haven't been in this world for a while, but I really think between us rooting for you and you doing your thing on tape, you'll get it. So I'm thinking, no, like I mean, this is the end of the school.
Lesson plans.
It's like I can't just up and leave, you know. So I said, well, just okay, send me the stuff. So I called up some friends. We went up to Michigan, and because one of my best friends was she in her master's then? One of her master's or doctor program. So she was able to like get us in and get accompanist, and we put everything on tape. I sent it off. And I got it. I couldn't believe it. Now looking back, knowing how hard it was back then to book things off of just the tape without being seen in person, that was unheard of. But I booked it, which was kind of like, I know this is what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
Literally, I went to Dr. Collins. I was like, oh God, what am I going to say? I told her. I didn't know what her reaction was going to be, but she was so excited. And she basically said, I'll take care of everything. Don't tell the kids. The end of the school year, literally it was like report card turn in time. It was, she said, just get your classroom ready for the summer, turn in your report cards to me, and don't say anything to anybody, and go and don't come back.
Wow.
I literally went and didn't come back. So I told my kids bye on Friday, them not knowing that they weren't going to see me.
I'll see you again. Oh.
Sunday afternoon, I was in a rehearsal out in Reno, getting put into the show. So.
Wow.
And it's been like that ever since, literally.
So, okay, so they were already on the road needing a replacement.
Yeah,
wow.
What was happening was they were shifting the tour into a casino.
Okay.
Tours do that a lot. They'll do like a chunk time where it's called a sit down, and they'll do that for however long. And so the girl who's in the track I replaced didn't want to do, they were bringing in a special guest for her role. So she was basically getting demoted, and she said, well, I'm gone. So they needed someone to take over the coverage, which is what I was doing. So yeah, and I kind of got a crash course in that world, like touring and what it means to be a swing, because I had never been a swing. I didn't know what a swing was, and learned that, which coincidentally my Broadway debut was as a swing. So I already kind of had like a little experience with that, but on a lesser scale. So yeah, that was my turning point, where I was like,
well, that's a heck of a turning point.
It was, I think this is for a lot of people, especially coming from the Midwest to areas, or if you do jobs like you have a comfortable job, you almost have to have something kind of snatch you out, because, and I get asked this all the time, well, I mean, how much money should I save, and when should I? There's never a perfect time. You're never going to have enough money. You're not going to have the perfect situation. I came to New York in an Escort full of clothes with $800 and friends that let me stay on their living room floor in Brooklyn. I didn't have all these things that people think that they need to make the leap. Because if you're waiting on that, you're not going to do it.
No, never.
It's never going to be the right time. So yeah, I just kind of got tossed out there, shot out of a cannon, and I just kept going.
Yeah, so that was 2005?
2005, yeah.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
And so then after that stint with that show, how long was it before you booked the next one? And then how did you figure out how to navigate that, and it became a regular thing?
Right. So that tour replacement was a short term, because they had another girl that that was originally supposed to do it. But they had her out in Asia on another show. So that's how I came into play, because they couldn't pull her off the show to bring her back home to do it. So I was the interim until she could get back to the States to do it. Gotcha. So I did that for 6 weeks, came back home, and I said, well, let me just go for a quick trip to New York and just audition. And the very first audition I had, I booked the job.
Wow.
That doesn't happen. But I think I'm thinking of like so many teachable moments, like my teacher thing is clicking in. I think too, when we are not so, what's the best way to say it? When you don't really know, that's when you're your most authentic self. It's kind of like when you hear people say, "Oh, she's jaded," or "He's he's over it." I've had my best results when I didn't know who that person was in the room. I didn't know, the magnitude of, I'm auditioning next to a Broadway.
You weren't so like into the outcome. It was like you were detached from all of that expectation.
Yeah. I didn't get hung up on things because I didn't know to be hung up on them. I just went and did my thing. And I think I wish we could harness that like in a bottle and like drink some of it when we get in our way. Some of the times I've been in auditions and I'm up against like Tony nominees and Tony winners. And I get in my head like, oh, you don't supposed to be here. You don't have the credentials. You don't have the this or that. But if I wasn't supposed to be there, I wouldn't be there.
Exactly.
So bring in the room why they brought you there. And that's what I wish I could remember it more,
Yeah.
But yeah, I went and I just went and I booked it. It was a Christmas show.
Okay.
And it was with a company that's kind of like the American equivalent to Cirque du Soleil.
Oh, okay.
They have a lot of shows like Cirque Dreams, Cirque this, Cirque that. But I ended the tour show in late summer. By late fall, I was in rehearsals for this Christmas show because it rehearsed through the fall and played through the winter. Okay. So at the time I had a roommate and everything, one of my homegirls that I went to college with. And I'm like, how am I going to tell her that not only am I leaving to go do this show in wherever, Missouri or something, but I'm also after that going to come home, pack my stuff and leave. And she was so excited for me. She was like, girl, I don't care. I can take you. And she's still in the apartment.
Wow.
When I
she wasn't lying. No. She was telling the truth.
You never got another roommate? She said, no, I didn't need one. When you left, it was like you were gone. I didn't want to bring anybody else. And she's still there to this day.
Oh, that's kind of
sweet.
Always
been so supportive. She went to Cass too. 98.
Oh, my class.
Kelly Williams. You know Kelly?
Kelly Williams.
She ran track.
I need a face. Thousands of us.
Not like 800 people in your graduating.
I think we had like 525. We diminished quite a bit, but still. The name sounds very familiar, but I need a face.
Her dad was a coach track at Renaissance, actually. And he was a
police
officer, but she went to Cass. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, Kelly, we love you.
Yes, my girl, she went to Kentucky State too.
That's awesome. I mean, but it sounds like too, you have really great support, and it's no coincidence. Those are all Detroit people.
All Detroit people.
That's kind of how we do. So then you start booking things consistently. Now, what I want to know, just on the personal, and I'm sure the listeners want to know as well, how did you transition from the Broadway stuff to the film stuff?
Yeah, so the same year that I joined The Color Purple on Broadway was also the same year I booked my first television role, which was a small, like, it's called a co-star. There's different like names to the types of roles. Sure. This one is a little more meatier than a usual co-star. I was in 3 scenes with Kevin James, which is not usually that much, but it was my first, it wasn't my first television audition, but I had only done a few, and it was kind of that same thing of like, I'm kind of green to this part of the business. So I just went in and was myself, and I booked it. And I will say, as an actor, regardless of what idiom you're in, intention and honesty is the same. It doesn't matter if you're on a stage and your audience is 2,000 people, or you're on a set and your audience is a lens or a few different lenses in different directions. So that part wasn't tricky, especially since I was playing a co-star. I wasn't, I was the setup guy for Kevin James. That show was all just setting him up for the joke. But the lens and the angles, and it happened to be so still, and it was a little daunting at first, especially since my first, this was a multi-camera setup, which they don't do it very often. They don't do that very often. And we also had a studio audience. So this was a random, not usual situation for a first timer to go into.
Yeah.
And, but they were the thing is, you got to just kind of go in there and kind of don't ask too many questions. Look like you know what you're doing, but when they throw you the help, take it.
Yeah.
Don't take it as like, oh, I don't know. Just take it. So, like I remember, for this one, I had to speak a little louder than you normally would have to because we were in a set sound stage. So you got to kind of project a little bit, even though there's light, as opposed to like filming the movie or the other television thing where you just talk normal, because anything above a normal is, you sound like you're yelling. So it really was about being very observant, paying attention. When I was not called, I was sitting in my little chair. They give everybody a chair on set, and I watched everything so that I was not lost when it was time to shoot my scenes. Right. Same thing with Blind Spot. It was a little easier because it's a little bit more like normal, where you just kind of reset up the shots. They shoot different angles, but it's just kind of one camera. Okay. And it was really easy at that point. So all of that kind of trained me for the film, where I was going to be in an entire movie from start to end with developing an entire character. So yeah, it's just really about being very intentional, but also really paying attention to the direction that you're getting, because really, to me, when you're acting for television, you don't have to imagine a whole lot because it's all there. You're on set, you're in a house, you're outside, or whatever you're doing. So all you have to do is just really listen and pay attention to what the person in front of you is saying. Because a lot of time the camera's picking up you listening. It's not picking up you talking. So, which sounds easy. It sounds like, oh yeah, until you watch yourself and you're like, ooh,
what did I do?
Just last night I was in here doing a self-tape, and I was just watching myself back to make some adjustments, and I was just like, oh God, no, that was not at all what you thought. But watching myself helped me say, oh, I know how to shift myself a little bit. Yeah. So that all helps, when you do self-tapes, you watch yourself back, you watch other actors. And all of that helped. And so it makes it a little easier going back to the theater, because I can just be like, people doing this doesn't read on stage. Nobody knows what you did. They can't understand.
Exactly.
So
yeah. What role did you play in The Color Purple? Because I don't know the answer.
So I did the Broadway company and the national tour that went out right after it. Okay. So on Broadway, I was a swing for the church ladies, which for the listeners who may not be versed on the theater lingo, a swing basically is an understudy that covers more than one person.
Gotcha.
Typically a swing covers a lot of ensemble roles. They also cover principals, but typically cover a lot of ensemble roles. So it basically meant that I was like an on-call type of actor. I had to report every day, but I didn't go on every day. I only was there in case somebody called out, somebody got sick, somebody got injured, or something like that. So my main function was because Danielle Brooks was filming Orange is the New Black, and she was our Sophia. So she was going to be doing a lot of filming, and her understudy would be on a lot. So they needed a person that could really be there to cover. So that's how I came into the fold at Color Purple Broadway. But on tour, I was the church lady that opened the show. And if anybody's seen it, they know it's like getting shot out of a cannon. That was because you literally.
But you don't seem to be a stranger to doing that at this point.
I'm telling you that our conversation is kind of helping me realize this is kind of your life, right? Getting shot out of cannons, the pressure, I've not had an easy, just, sit around and, smoke my cigarette. It's easy. No, I haven't. And I also understudied Sophia on the tour, and I got to play Sophia in Detroit when we played the Fisher.
Oh, nice.
That was all the feels.
Yes, I bet. And I have not gotten to see that show. I'm so upset because I've read the book several times. I've seen the movie a million times, like most Black girls in America, but have not seen the play yet. That's going to be on my list.
Yeah, when it comes back around, I know there was a tour that was out that got closed down because of the COVID-19. Yeah. But I'm sure, over time, the demand for that story is so big, it'll be back.
Sure.
It comes, you gotta see it.
Got to. Well, you're definitely making me a lot more interested. I mean, I was kind of like, yeah, I know the story, but now I
Yeah.
want to see it.
Like my
Okay.
character, for example, is not in the book. So
Okay.
none of the church ladies are. So it's like a
Sure.
cool device that they used to kind of help push the story along. But if you read the book, we don't exist.
Exactly. But that's the thing about art, and that's what I love about art.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just whatever you make it.
Yeah.
Creativity is awesome, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna transition a little bit.
Okay.
Well, no, before that, I want to know what else is in the pipeline. Like, what are you working on? And why have we never heard any solo music from
I
you?
know. I knew that question was coming.
Hmm.
Well, I did have a solo album that was out. I released in 2009.
What?
I know, and I feel I could kick myself because it did really well. I sold out of every physical copy I had, and it did well online.
Hmm.
But somehow I let the renewal lapse accidentally, and once you do that, it's like the music's gone forever.
Oh
Well,
man.
unfortunately, that's gone. But fortunately, I'm
Hmm.
in the studio right now. Actually, my single will be out very, very soon. I'm
Ooh.
really nervous because most people don't know me as a studio singer, even though
Right.
I'm a session singer. I do everybody
Hmm.
else's stuff. I don't do my own stuff. So
Hmm.
I will be releasing that. I'm hoping to have the full EP out probably by the end of the summer, early fall.
What?
But I'm trying to have this single out really soon, like within the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Whoa, you heard it here, folks. Now, see, I
Oh,
didn't even know that. I'm kind of a prophetess in that way where I just brought that up and it just happened to be relevant.
mm-hmm.
No, so that's amazing. That
Yeah.
makes me happy because
Well,
I've
thank
heard
you.
you on other stuff.
Right.
I heard you on the Tale of Two Fools novel by Chad Serwick Hughes, and I love it. Detroit,
Yeah.
oh how I love you. Ooh, I want if you could just sing a little bit. Am I putting you on the spot?
Ooh, do I
I'm
remember?
shooting you out of a cannon.
No, you oh, do I
You
remember?
remember the words? Oh
Oh,
no.
how I love you, Detroit. Detroit, there's no place I'd rather be. Detroit. I don't remember. That'll kill me.
We can edit that part. Well, no matter. Thank you. I was wondering if I could slip that in somewhere, but
Oh,
yes,
yeah,
I
I
love
forgot
that.
all about that tune. That's such a great tune.
It is, and it
Oh,
just talks about all the landmarks and stuff, so it's really special.
yeah.
And yeah, we're gonna have to find a way to ease that into the broadcast. I know
Yeah.
I spoke about it once, but it didn't happen. But we're gonna work on that.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right, so solo project. Any other film stuff? Any other? Well, I know right now stuff is really
Yeah.
not happening in that
Well,
way.
I mean, I didn't really have anything coming up before this, just a lot of auditions because this is
Gotcha.
the year. Well, it would have been ending now, but right when everything started is when pilot season happens. So all of
Yeah,
the even
everything's
possible
just
things
at a
gone.
halt. Yeah.
So, and plus too, with the movie coming out, there was so much press and stuff we had to do for
Sure.
I probably would have been overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But I've been going on tape for a lot of projects. I've gotten callbacks for things, so we'll see.
Nice.
I think everybody just has like a huge question mark over their head,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the theater community, because we honestly we just don't know. Producers
Yeah.
are, I've lost a lot of money because these shows are closed. So a lot
Mm-hmm.
of shows may not afford to come back that were
Yeah.
doing great that just can't
Yeah.
afford this, or shows that were in production or in development that just get canned. They kind of get lost in the shuffle because right now producers are just trying to cut their losses, let alone
Right.
so they're not thinking about all those other things. So hopefully my prayer is everyone who was employed that was in a show when
Mm-hmm.
Broadway went dark, that those shows will be able to return, even if it's
Yeah.
limited, especially Ain't Too Proud, because that's my favorite Broadway show.
Yes.
Times. I love it. I love everyone in the show. Shout out
Woo
to Dominique Maruso, who just
woo.
bossed up and gave us a jewel with that show. So I'm praying all those guys could come back and stir us up like they did. But I'm also hoping that people will not let this stop them from creating and
Right.
putting new works out and using this as a reset time to look at
Sure.
new things, maybe bring up some old projects that they kind of previously canned and said, let's revive this. Let's look at it and see what we can do. So
Sure.
yeah, but right
Okay,
now I'm just
well, I'm
creating.
excited.
Thanks. I am too. I am too.
I'm definitely gonna be looking for that music. That's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, and I'm going to be doing some live. I host a big open mic here in New York. I have
Okay.
for years. So we're going to kind of do a online version of that coming up
Okay.
really soon, really soon.
Hmm.
So please, I hope everybody at home can check it out, because finally now what I did in New York, people at home can see it, because
You have a captive audience. We can't go anywhere.
you're right. Yeah. So yeah, just staying positive and checking on my people, and that's what I'm doing right now. And just get through
Definitely.
this. Yeah.
Cool. All right, so now we're gonna go to the more fun stuff.
Okay.
Well, before we go there, I want you to just tell us in your own words in just a few minutes, and you've mentioned some of it, but just to kind of encapsulate it here, what in your experience makes the D so special?
Oh, our resilience.
Mm.
We are the textbook case of the comeback kid. I mean, Detroit has had so many things to try to stop us and slow us down. And, we have just always managed as a city, as a community, to come back. We lift each other up. We support each other. We are open to growth. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so I keep an eye on Detroit. I've been here for years, but every time someone brings up Detroit lately, it's always, oh yeah, Detroit. Oh yeah, I've heard it.
Mm.
And it brings me like a little joy, because you
Yeah.
don't know the half. You don't know, what we've gone through,
Man.
what we've come back from. So,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that there is a stronger, more resilient city in the United States than Detroit. When we get down, we rely on our artists to inspire us and encourage us. We don't let ourselves get counted out, and so that's what makes me proud. I'm a proud daughter of Detroit, and no matter where I go or what I'm doing, I make sure. You can ask anybody here that knows me, they know I'm from Detroit. I
Hey.
talk about it, I sing about it, I post about it, because I just love it. I love Detroit. I love our heart. I love our soul. And there's lots of Detroit people here in New York, and it's like when we
Mm-hmm.
see each other, it's always like,
Mm-hmm. What up,
"What
though?
up, though? What up?" Oh, it brings. That's the reaction. That's
Yeah.
when we greet each other, when we see each other, when we're all out here moving and shaking and doing things. It's still, what up,
Mm-hmm.
though? You good? What's
Mm-hmm.
good? And I'll treasure that always. And my heart is always with Detroit, no matter how long I'm away.
Yeah. I echo that sentiment. And it seems like we all say it's a lot of Detroit people where I live. It's true here too in Florida. Like it's a lot
Yeah.
of Detroit people in Jacksonville of all places. There's a
Mm-hmm.
whole church that started here from people that came from Word of Faith. So the church
Wow.
I ended up at originally, when the first probably 7 years I lived here, were just all Detroit people. So it was like home.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah.
how do you find that? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I totally get it. You
Yeah.
hit the nail on the head with that. And we've had some really interesting responses to that question.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all so rich and they all add another layer. And I just love that we have all of this positivity that we can share with the masses that have, because I find the people with the most negative opinions about Detroit have never been.
Never. It's what they watch on the news.
Oh my God. Were you ever shot or robbed? Like, when were you there? Oh, I've never gone. Oh, well, I lived there for most of my life up until, I was an adult, and that never happened to me.
It's just people just there's something to be said for the spin that the news and media puts on places, not just Detroit.
Yeah.
Lots of people. You just got
Hmm.
to really get to know the city. Come
Yeah.
visit. Come during the summer when we have our festivals and.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Like
Okay, well now we're getting into the
I
next
know,
one.
I don't talk too much.
Let's get to that first. See, this is me not being on point. So let's get into it.
Okay.
This is our last portion. We call this the Fab Five, the play on the old Michigan team.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you about 5 Detroit things. I want you to tell me what your favorite thing is in each category.
Okay.
You can attach a story to it if you have something to share, because a lot of people do. If not, that's fine.
Okay.
So number 1, your favorite Detroit place or landmark?
Definitely is Hart Plaza.
Okay.
Hart Plaza for so many reasons, which I think another question will help me answer that one more.
Okay. Okay.
Hart Plaza is my favorite. Yeah, when I went to Detroit.
Okay, cool. That we've gotten that one a few times. It's either that or Belle Isle. That's a popular answer as well. So they're about neck and neck, I think.
Yeah.
All right. So number 2. Now this one I make a little bit more difficult on purpose.
Okay.
Your favorite restaurant or dish, past or current?
Oh, my favorite, which technically, okay, so I'm just gonna answer it and then we can discuss.
Okay.
My favorite place and dish, because the dish and place is the same, is Vocalist. But people be like, nah, because that is a Chicago inspired food. So it's technically not really a Detroit staple. But
that's a very popular answer, actually.
It is only second by Coney Island.
That's the one. Yeah.
I got into arguments with people in New York because they have a Coney Island location here. Right. And here they have hot dogs and stuff. This place called Nathan's, which is disgusting. It's nasty. It's salty. It's greasy. They kept, Coney Island started in New York. I said, no, it did not. No, it didn't. I have literally researched it because I got so arguing with people about it. And so my favorite for real Detroit food is Coney Island. And it is, my favorite dish there is chili cheese fries and a Coney special, chili with no beans.
Oh, okay. No beans.
You know, there's a school of with the beans, without beans. I'm a no bean person, but literally every time I come home, maybe the last time I was there I didn't because I was on a diet or something. I always go to Coney Island.
Okay.
Always. I never come home and not have it at least once while I'm there.
No, I get you. My and people have heard me say this. I don't care. I'm gonna say it again because it's my show. My go home, gotta get it every time is Olga's. Gotta get Olga's. That bread. It's that bread, man.
It's the bread.
You can't get it anywhere else.
Nope, you can't get it anywhere else. Olga's.
Yes, but no, I mean, Coney Island, that's real. The only thing was after I went off to college and I tried to come back at Christmas break and eat chili cheese fries, that didn't work out so well for me. So I kind of gave that up. I love you, Coney Island. I think, no, I lied. I had some 2 years ago when I was there for my class reunion. I do think I had some chili cheese fries for old time's sake, but it's not something I can partake in too regularly. You know, you get a little older, things change.
Honestly, I shouldn't be eating it either. It'd be bothering me, but I don't care. I eat it.
It's so good though, and I just drown in ketchup.
Yeah, and you know, there are people who say from Detroit that say you're not supposed to put ketchup on Coney dogs.
I can't do. Well, I don't do Coney dogs. That's something I don't do.
It's about the fries, the chili cheese fries.
I like the fries. Yeah,
you gotta have
fries.
ketchup on the fries.
Got to. Yeah.
I don't know where that rule came from, but
I don't know. Do it how you like, everybody.
Right.
Okay, we're not gonna put limitations on your Coney favorites. All right. So number 3, your favorite downtown event. Downtown only. You know what that includes.
Right.
Go.
The fireworks.
Yeah.
Point blank, my favorite. When I was a kid, the highlight of my summer was going to the fireworks.
Oh.
And my mom, so sidebar, my mother is from Toronto. She's Canadian. She's still a Canadian citizen. For whatever
Really?
She never changed her citizenship. So we and my grandparents, until they passed on, lived in Toronto. So I was always in Windsor, or we would drive up. So a lot of times, I guess this is kind of cheating. We watched the fireworks from the Canadian side. Okay. Because they had the rides and the food. I mean, even though they had food on the Detroit side, but they had rides. And so my parents would make like a whole 2-day thing of it. We would go ride all the rides, watch the fireworks. Then we would stay at a hotel overnight, get up and have breakfast at this place called the Golden Griddle. It's a
Ooh.
Canadian breakfast spot that has the best pancakes, and then we would come home.
Mm.
So
Aw.
when I was really little, we stayed on the Detroit side. But then once I became a teenager, we watched on the Canadian side. But by far my favorite event ever.
And some of the best fireworks I've ever seen. After I left Detroit and tried to watch fireworks in other places, I'm like, what is this?
Yeah,
This
it's
is
terrible.
not that good. Oh my God, where's the finale? Like that
Right.
was it?
Oh, it's nothing like sitting on the lawn or getting your chair and then it gets dark and those things go off and everybody's cheering and clapping. It's just the best. It's the best.
It
I
is.
miss that.
Oh, yeah, that's a really good one. Jarrell also mentioned that as his favorite too. That was a really funny story he had. Okay, so we're winding down. We got 2 more.
Okay.
Number 4, your favorite Detroit sports team.
The Pistons.
Of course. That's the overwhelming favorite. Probably mainly because a few of the other ones disappoint us a lot. Well, not just one. We love you, Lions, but come on.
You guys.
We're still rooting for you. We're still rooting.
We are, but it's just so sad.
It's a struggle. It's a struggle. And I live in Jacksonville, so I just can't get a break.
I remember one time, that reminds me of a time when I did live in New York, because I lived in the Bronx for years.
Okay.
I was on the train, and where I lived was the 4 train. And the 4 train is the main train that takes you literally right through Yankee Stadium.
Okay.
And so not to ride it when they have games because the trains are packed with people that come up from Manhattan and Queens and stuff to watch the game. Mm-hmm. So I was either coming home or going into the city, and I was on the train when a game had let out. And it just so happened that this was a Yankees Tigers game, and we won. The Tigers won. I said, "Go Tigers!" on the train, and everybody was like, I'm from Detroit, so, and I just sat down, and everybody on the train was like,
right, mean mugging.
Staring. I said, I don't care. And my friends was like, shh. I said, I don't care. The Tigers won. I'm from Detroit. And they're like, well, this is Yankee town. I said, I don't care. Like, we get real back and forth with people, but I was very proud to cheer for my team, even though they were in New York playing.
Right. I mean, hey, you can't help that. You got to root for the home team.
That's right.
And that was your home team. So.
That's right.
But I mean, some crazy stuff happens on the train, girl. I don't know.
That day.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. Man, this has been so fun. We are on the last one.
Okay.
I try to drag it out just a little bit because that's just how I am. No. So, number 5. And this is a very customizable answer. Your favorite Detroit memory, and what I mean by that is a memory that you have that is so doggone Detroit, you can't classify it as anything else.
Ooh. That's a really good question. Probably any time in the summers when I was allowed to go to Belle Isle. Because back then, it was still kind of crazy, but a couple of times I was able to go to see like all the cars like blasting. Like, I have so many memories. Like, I've scratched that one.
Okay, that's trash. Next.
My favorite Detroit memory is one Christmas I was at Fairlane Mall, which that was the spot between Northland and Fairlane. God, in Northland!
I mean, maybe. I didn't grow up on the west side, but well, I'll allow it.
Okay. Well, go with me here. If you
yes.
It was Christmas time, and back in the day, like the mall was the spot, like whatever Eastland, wherever what side of town. And I remember being in the mall with two of my like girlfriends, and we were walking through all the kids, teenagers there, and somebody had busted out like a boombox or something, and they turned on some jit music. It was like a big, and they literally had like a jit battle in the middle
in the mall.
And these guys, and how in Detroit everybody want to crowd around.
Yes.
It's like a super crowd of people, and like the mall security was trying to like get us all to leave, and it was so Detroit. And
yes, that's very Detroit.
Breaking it down I mean, jit moves I never even seen, and I don't know if people know
Wow.
what jitting is, but like it's a Detroit thing.
Google it. Google
Yeah,
it. Go on YouTube.
jitting. Why was I just showing somebody some old clips of the new dance show?
Oh my God. That's very Detroit.
I got so many, but that probably was the best one. I was like, man, I love being from Detroit. This is
Yeah,
so fun.
that is pure Detroit right
But
there.
it was good, clean. Nobody got into a fight.
Right.
Nobody got mad when they lost. It was just, yo, like, he's dope.
Yeah, yeah.
They was going. And it was just like, this is so dope.
Yes, I love that. I love that. And I've said this before. I repeat myself a lot, but that's okay. Not everyone heard this before, but what I realized just recently is that how back in the day we were dancing to like electronic European, German music. And I had no clue as a young Black girl in Detroit that was not Detroit music. To me, that was what Detroit music was.
Right.
But it came from the other side of the globe, and we were making it hot. We made it so trendy and so fire. It's so crazy. To know that now, because it was just so commonplace. We just made it work, and it was really like cool. Who knew?
I still play it now. I've introduced several New Yorkers.
Oh yeah,
great music, and they love it.
Cosmic Rain Dance. That's on my iTunes. Yes. Look, I raised my hand like I'm in church. Yeah.
Yes.
You know, Dendada. Yeah. All that. Yes. Man, it's over. We're done. Well, I hope that now we stay connected. I want alerts and notifications when you got stuff coming out. And maybe next season, after you get a little traction with your solo stuff, we have you back on and talk to us about it. That would be really cool.
That'd be great.
Thank you so much, Angela. This has been phenomenal. I am so glad we got a chance to connect. Tell Antaya I said hello.
I will.
And you know, this is Detroit Hustle Podcast. This is what we do. So next week we'll be back with another installment, and you guys just keep listening. Bye.
Bye.